Welcome to this course on risk and contingency management. This course focuses on 4 important steps. First, identify risks before they become problems. Next, assess the risks to understand how serious they are. Then, plan ahead by selecting suitable controls and preparing contingency plans. Finally, respond and recover quickly whenever an unexpected event occurs. Throughout this course, practical examples, proven methods, and industry best practices will be discussed to help apply these concepts in real workplace situations. Let's begin the journey toward building a more resilient organization. Welcome to QGlobal Academy. By the end of this training, participants will gain a comprehensive understanding of the topic, learn practical implementation techniques, explore industry best practices, review real-world case studies, and build greater professional competence and confidence. A course completion certificate is available upon request. For certificate eligibility, enrollment details, and additional learning opportunities, please visit our website or contact us using the information provided. To stay connected with QGlobal Academy, visit www.qglobalacademy.com or email info@qglobal.in. Let's begin the learning journey and take the next step toward professional excellence. In this module, the focus is on risk management. Risk management is a systematic process used to identify, assess, control, monitor, and continually review risks that may affect organizational objectives. The process starts by identifying risks. These are situations that have the potential to cause problems in the future. The next step is risk assessment, where each identified risk is evaluated to understand its likelihood and possible impact. After assessment comes risk control. Appropriate preventive measures are implemented to reduce the chance of the risk occurring or to minimize its impact. Risk management does not stop there. Risks must be monitored continuously to ensure controls remain effective. Finally, risks are reviewed and improved regularly because organizations, technologies, and business environments constantly change. An effective risk management system helps prevent problems before they occur, protects valuable resources, ensures compliance with requirements, and supports the achievement of business objectives. Now that the concepts of risk, nonconformity, and contingency are clear, let's understand why risk management is so important. The primary purpose of risk management is to identify, assess, and manage risks so organizational objectives can be achieved consistently. The first benefit is protecting quality. By identifying potential issues early, organizations can prevent defects, maintain conformity, and consistently deliver reliable products or services. The second benefit is preventing failures. Managing risks reduces the likelihood of process deviations, equipment failures, supplier problems, and other unexpected issues. Risk management also helps improve customer satisfaction. Consistent quality, reliable delivery, and dependable service build customer confidence and trust. Another major benefit is ensuring business continuity. When unexpected events occur, organizations with effective risk management recover faster and minimize operational disruption. Risk management also helps optimize resources. Instead of treating every risk equally, attention and resources are focused on the most significant risks. Finally, risk management supports continual improvement. Every assessment, review, and lesson learned helps strengthen processes and improve future performance. Remember, effective risk management transforms uncertainty into opportunity by enabling smarter decisions, stronger performance, and sustainable growth. Before learning risk management, it is important to clearly understand 3 related terms: risk, nonconformity, and contingency. A risk is a potential event or condition that may affect the achievement of objectives. It exists before anything actually happens. A risk may never occur, but it always has the possibility of affecting quality, cost, delivery, safety, or other business goals. Risks can be managed using preventive controls. A nonconformity is different. It occurs only after a specified requirement has not been met. It represents a failure in a process, product, or service. Once a nonconformity occurs, correction and corrective action become necessary. A contingency is the planned response when a significant risk becomes reality. It is activated only when required. Its purpose is to minimize disruption, support business continuity, and help the organization recover quickly. Remember this simple relationship. Risk is the possibility. Contingency is the planned response if the risk occurs. Nonconformity is the result when requirements are not fulfilled. Understanding these differences forms the foundation for effective risk management. This slide explains how risk and nonconformity are connected. A risk represents uncertainty. It is the possibility that an event may occur and affect organizational objectives. A nonconformity is the actual failure to meet a specified requirement. It represents a deviation from the expected result. The important point is that risk can lead to nonconformity if it is not properly controlled. For example, if equipment maintenance is ignored, there is a risk of equipment failure. If the machine eventually produces defective products, that becomes a nonconformity. High or unmanaged risks increase the likelihood of nonconformities. On the other hand, effective preventive controls significantly reduce the chance of failures. Nonconformities also provide valuable information. They indicate that a risk has materialized or that existing controls may not be effective enough. Every nonconformity becomes an opportunity to review risks, improve controls, and strengthen the overall risk management system. Managing risks proactively helps prevent nonconformities and supports continual improvement. This slide explains the relationship between risk management and contingency planning. The process begins by identifying potential risks. Each risk is then assessed to understand its likelihood and impact. Appropriate controls are implemented to reduce the risk as much as possible. However, some risks may still remain after controls have been applied. These are called residual risks. If a residual risk remains high, the organization prepares a contingency plan. A contingency plan is not intended to replace preventative controls. Instead, it prepares the organization to respond effectively if the risk actually occurs. For example, an organization may install backup power generators even after maintaining electrical systems properly. The generator is not preventing the power failure, but it ensures operations continue if a failure happens. Effective risk management means preparing not only to prevent problems, but also to recover quickly when prevention is not enough. This combination of prevention and preparedness creates a resilient organization. Risks can originate from many different areas within an organization. This slide highlights some of the most common sources. Let's begin with human resources. Risks may include staff shortages, absenteeism, loss of experienced personnel, or inadequate competency. Next are suppliers. Material shortages, delayed deliveries, poor supplier quality, or dependence on a single supplier can affect operations. Equipment is another major source of risk. Equipment breakdowns, overdue calibration, equipment unavailability, or utility failures can interrupt production or services. Moving to facilities, risks include power failures, fire, flooding, HVAC failures, building damage, or network and IT outages. For materials, organizations may experience raw material shortages, incorrect materials, damaged materials, or contamination. Within processes, risks include process deviations, incorrect operating parameters, procedures not being followed, or unstable processes. Information and technology risks include data loss, software failures, cybersecurity incidents, and communication failures. Compliance risks involve regulatory changes, customer requirement changes, audit findings, or legal noncompliance. Customer-related risks include changing requirements, increasing complaints, delivery delays, or product rejection. Finally, external events such as natural disasters, pandemics, transportation disruptions, or political instability can significantly affect business operations. The key message is simple. Identify risks early, assess them accurately, implement effective controls, respond quickly when needed, and continually improve the system. This slide presents the complete quality risk management process. Everything begins with a clear purpose. The objective is to systematically identify, assess, and manage risks to prevent undesired events, ensure conformity, protect customers, and achieve business objectives. The first step is risk identification. Potential events or conditions that may affect quality objectives are identified. The second step is risk assessment. Each identified risk is evaluated using probability, severity, and detectability. These values are used to calculate the risk priority number, or RPN. The third step is risk control. Appropriate preventative actions are implemented to reduce either the likelihood or the impact of the risk. The fourth step is monitoring. Risk indicators and control effectiveness are continuously monitored to ensure risks remain acceptable. The fifth step is maintaining a risk register. All identified risks, assessments, actions, responsibilities, and results are documented for future reference. Finally, risks are reviewed regularly or whenever significant changes occur. Improvements are made whenever necessary. Following this structured approach leads to fewer failures, improved process stability, higher customer confidence, better operational efficiency, and stronger business continuity. Risk management always starts with effective risk identification. The purpose is to recognize anything that could prevent the organization from achieving its quality, operational, or business objectives. Risk identification begins with collecting useful inputs. These include existing risk registers, process maps, procedures, historical performance data, audit findings, customer feedback, legal requirements, and information from change management activities. Potential risks may originate from many sources, including people, suppliers, equipment, facilities, materials, processes, information technology, compliance requirements, customers, and external events. Several activities help identify risks effectively. These include reviewing processes and documents, brainstorming with subject matter experts, analyzing historical trends, identifying possible causes and consequences, and using tools such as checklists, flowcharts, SWOT analysis, and failure mode and effects analysis, or FMEA. The final outputs include a documented list of risks, clear risk descriptions, possible causes and consequences, assigned risk owners, and entries in the risk register. Remember, effective risk identification ensures that important risks are not overlooked and provides the foundation for successful risk management. Once risks have been identified, the next step is to determine which ones require the greatest attention. Risk assessment evaluates each identified risk using 3 parameters. The first is probability, which measures how likely the risk is to occur. The second is severity, which measures the impact if the risk actually happens. The third is detectability, which measures how easily the risk can be identified before it affects the customer or the next process. These 3 values are multiplied together to calculate the risk priority number, commonly called the RPN. The formula is straightforward. RPN equals probability multiplied by severity multiplied by detectability. Based on the calculated RPN, risks are classified into different risk levels, such as low, medium, or high. This structured approach provides several benefits. It creates consistency, helps prioritize resources, supports better decision-making, reduces uncertainty, and improves quality and business continuity. Always remember, the higher the RPN, the greater the priority for action. After calculating the risk priority number, the next step is risk evaluation. Risk evaluation determines whether the calculated risk is acceptable and identifies the actions that should be taken. Let's begin with low risk, which covers an RPN from 1 to 9. These risks are generally acceptable. They have minimal impact, and existing controls are considered effective. No immediate action is required, but regular monitoring and periodic reviews should continue. Next is medium risk, with an RPN between 10 and 26. These risks require management attention. Existing controls may need improvement, and additional risk reduction measures should be implemented. After improvements, the risk should be reassessed to confirm that it has been reduced. Finally,
High risk has an RPN of 27 in this 3x3 rating system. These risks are unacceptable because they can have a significant impact on quality, safety, delivery, cost, or reputation. Immediate action is required to eliminate or reduce the risk. If necessary, the issue should be escalated to top management. Once actions have been completed, the risk should be reassessed. Remember these key points. A higher RPN always indicates a higher priority. Risk evaluation is not a one-time activity. It is a continuous process that supports continual improvement. The ultimate objective is to reduce every significant risk to an acceptable level through effective controls.
Once risks have been evaluated, appropriate controls must be implemented. The purpose of risk control is to eliminate or reduce risks to an acceptable level, while ensuring that the controls remain effective over time. The first level of the control hierarchy is eliminate the risk. Where possible, remove unnecessary activities, eliminate the root cause, or simplify the process so that the risk no longer exists. The second level is prevent the risk. Examples include developing standard operating procedures, providing employee training, performing preventative maintenance, using approved suppliers, and standardizing processes. The third level is detect the risk. Inspection, testing, calibration, monitoring, internal audits, and KPI tracking help identify problems before they affect customers. The fourth level is correct the risk. If a problem occurs, corrective actions, root cause analysis, rework, retesting, and CAPA activities help eliminate the cause and prevent recurrence. The fifth level is contingency management. This includes backup personnel, backup equipment, alternative suppliers, and business continuity plans that help maintain operations during unexpected events. The key takeaway is to apply controls according to the level of risk, focus on prevention whenever possible, detect problems early, correct deviations quickly, maintain contingency plans for high-risk situations, and continually improve controls through regular reviews and lessons learned. Effective risk control minimizes nonconformities, reduces business disruption, and supports continual improvement. Welcome to the second module on contingency management. Even the best risk controls cannot eliminate every risk. Some unexpected events can still occur. That is why organizations need effective contingency planning. Contingency management is a proactive approach that prepares an organization to respond quickly, recover efficiently, and maintain business continuity during unexpected situations. The process begins by identifying potential events that could disrupt operations. Next, the possible impact and likelihood of these events are assessed to determine where contingency planning is required. Based on the assessment, suitable contingency plans are developed. These plans are then implemented and communicated so everyone understands their responsibilities during an emergency or disruption. Finally, contingency plans must be tested, reviewed, and continually improved to ensure they remain effective. The goal is simple. Be prepared before problems occur. Protect people and assets. Minimize disruption. Recover quickly, and maintain business continuity, even during unexpected events. This slide explains when contingency planning becomes necessary and the benefits it provides. Contingency planning is required when residual risks remain high, even after preventive controls have been implemented. It is also necessary when disruptions could affect critical processes, important services, customer commitments, or legal obligations. Organizations should prepare contingency plans whenever there is dependence on key personnel, suppliers, equipment, facilities, or other critical resources. Contingency planning is equally important when business continuity, organizational reputation, or customer confidence could be affected. Plans should be based on the results of risk assessments and should focus on high-priority processes, critical resources, and key stakeholders. Contingency planning is also valuable when single points of failure are identified, during major organizational changes, new projects, or when operating in uncertain environments. The benefits are significant. It reduces the impact of disruptions on operations and customers. It enables faster response and quicker recovery.
It improves confidence among customers, regulators, and stakeholders. It minimizes financial losses and operational downtime. Most importantly, it supports long-term business continuity and organizational resilience. An effective contingency plan helps organizations stay prepared, respond confidently, and recover quickly whenever unexpected events occur.
This slide presents a structured process for managing contingency situations. The process begins with high risk. First, identify and confirm that the remaining risk is significant enough to require a contingency plan. Not every risk needs one. The focus should always be on high-priority risks that could seriously affect the organization. The next step is activate. Once the contingency condition is met, initiate the contingency plan immediately. Quick action helps reduce delays and limits the impact of the event. The third step is contain. The objective is to control the situation and prevent it from becoming worse. Containment actions help minimize disruption while protecting people, products, services, and critical operations. Next is assess. Evaluate the situation carefully. Determine the actual impact, identify the root cause if possible, and understand what additional resources or actions may be required. The fifth step is recover. Restore normal operations as quickly and safely as possible. Recovery may involve repairing equipment, restoring systems, arranging alternative resources, or resuming production. After recovery comes verify. Confirm that corrective actions have been effective and that operations can safely continue without introducing new risks. The seventh step is resume. Resume normal business activities and communicate the status to employees, customers, suppliers, and other stakeholders where necessary. Finally, review the entire event. Capture lessons learned, evaluate the effectiveness of the contingency plan, and update procedures and controls for future improvement. A structured contingency management process helps organizations respond faster, reduce disruption, and recover with confidence. This slide highlights common contingency actions that organizations can prepare in advance. The first action is backup personnel. Cross-trained employees or temporary staff ensure that critical activities continue when key personnel are unavailable. The second action is backup equipment. Maintaining spare or standby equipment helps minimize downtime if critical equipment fails. The third action is alternative suppliers. Having qualified backup suppliers reduces the risk of material shortages and supply interruptions. The fourth action is business continuity plans. These plans define how essential operations will continue during major disruptions. Another important action is customer communication. Customers should receive timely and accurate information about delays, disruptions, or recovery activities. Clear communication helps maintain confidence and trust. The next contingency action is 100% inspection. During unusual situations, additional inspection or verification may be necessary to ensure only conforming products or services reach the customer. Another key action is data recovery. Regular backups and tested recovery procedures help restore important information after system failures or cyber incidents. Finally, there is management escalation. Significant events should be escalated promptly so that senior management can provide decisions, resources, and support when required. Preparing these contingency actions before an emergency occurs allows organizations to respond quickly, reduce downtime, and maintain customer confidence. This slide explains how to manage the risk of a shortage of human resources. The risk occurs when there are insufficient qualified employees to perform critical activities. This can result from illness, resignation, absenteeism, retirement, or unexpected increases in workload. Some common examples include key employees being unavailable due to illness, a sudden increase in customer demand, or specialized personnel leaving the organization without adequate replacement. To reduce this risk, organizations should implement preventive controls. These include workforce planning, succession planning, cross-training employees, maintaining competency records, and recruiting qualified personnel in advance. If a shortage still occurs, the contingency plan is activated. This may involve assigning trained backup personnel, temporarily reallocating employees, using approved contract staff, or adjusting work schedules until normal staffing levels are restored. The expected outcome is simple: continue critical operations, maintain customer commitments,
and minimize service disruption until the staffing situation returns to normal. Good workforce planning and flexible resource management ensure that temporary staff shortages do not become major operational problems.
This slide focuses on managing the risk of supplier material shortages. This risk occurs when essential raw materials or components are unavailable, delayed, or supplied in insufficient quantities. Such shortages can interrupt production and affect customer deliveries. Examples include supplier production issues, transportation delays, import restrictions, natural disasters affecting suppliers, or dependence on a single supplier. Preventive controls begin with good supplier management. Organizations should approve multiple suppliers where possible, maintain safety stock, monitor supplier performance, forecast material requirements accurately, and establish effective purchasing processes. If a shortage still occurs, contingency actions may include using approved alternative suppliers, consuming available inventory strategically, prioritizing customer orders, or using approved substitute materials where permitted. The objective is to continue production, protect customer commitments, and minimize delays while normal supply conditions are restored. Strong supplier relationships and effective contingency planning significantly improve supply chain resilience. Critical equipment plays a vital role in many operations. If this equipment fails unexpectedly, production or service delivery may stop completely. Examples include machine breakdowns, utility failures, calibration issues, software failures, or unexpected maintenance requirements. Preventive controls include scheduled preventive maintenance, routine inspections, equipment monitoring, timely calibration, operator training, and maintaining maintenance records. If a critical failure still occurs, contingency actions are implemented. These may include using backup equipment, transferring production to another machine, arranging emergency repairs, outsourcing selected activities, or using temporary replacement equipment where appropriate. The desired outcome is to restore operations safely, minimize downtime, protect product quality, and continue meeting customer requirements. Prepared maintenance programs combined with effective contingency planning help organizations recover quickly from unexpected equipment failures. This slide explains how organizations can respond to disruptions affecting facilities. Facility disruptions may result from fire, flooding, power failures, severe weather, utility interruptions, structural damage, or other unexpected events. These situations can stop production, interrupt services, affect employee safety, and delay deliveries. Preventative controls include regular facility maintenance, emergency preparedness, fire protection systems, utility monitoring, security controls, and periodic emergency drills. If a disruption occurs despite these controls, contingency actions are activated. These may include relocating operations to an alternate site, using backup utilities or generators, activating emergency response teams, informing customers and authorities, and implementing business continuity procedures. The objective is to protect employees, safeguard organizational assets, restore operations as quickly as possible, and maintain customer confidence. Effective contingency planning ensures that facility disruptions have the least possible impact on business operations. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. If you learned something new today, we'd really appreciate your support. Please give this video a like, share it with your friends or colleagues, and don't forget to subscribe to the QGlobal Academy channel. It helps us reach more learners and continue creating quality training content just like this. Looking to learn even more? Visit www.QGlobalacademy.com to explore our latest courses, certification programs, and professional development resources. If you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you. Just send us an email at info@qglobal.in.